Okay, I think we're good. Let's get started. So today I want to run through a list of several tricks in a number of different games and just kind of show with the TAS tools how difficult those tricks are, what the frame windows are like on them, and that sort of thing may be of interest to particularly the runners of those games, and then just in general viewers who see the impressive skills of speedrunners. So on the bottom left here I have a list of stuff I'm going to run through quick today. We're going to look at the block dupe trick in Mega Man, the flying knee in Double Dragon 2. There's a card grab in 4-2 of MC Kids. There are frame perfect jumps on the jukebox of Barbie. The plant jump right at the beginning, 1-1 of Super Mario Bros. 3. And then Empire Strikes Back, you can jump through the air with the tauntaun and keep on jumping through the air, which was obviously not intended, but we'll show how all that works. So I think we'll start by just Mega Man will show you the block dupe trick, and then we'll go in and see how it works. So let's run it. And then we can skip. Alright, so here's the block dupe. We can turn this music off. Alright, I'll show that again. So here, throw the block off the screen, grab a new block. So let's look at that with the tools. Stop that. We'll bring it up in here. Alright, so if we go up to here, you can see the trick again. There it is. Picked up the block, duplicated it. And you can see here all we did was hit B. If you look, if we go back frame by frame, you can see that we hit B right when the block pieces hit the edge of the screen. And we get a new block. So now what happens if we hit B a frame early? We'll run that again. If we hit B a frame early, no block. This was the correct frame, we get the block. If we hit B a frame late, we do not get the block. So we must hit B on that frame to get the block. One frame trick. And I believe if we take the rest of this out, you only have to be hitting B for a single frame, but you can hit it for more frames. It doesn't matter. As long as you have it on the correct frame, one frame trick. move on to Double Dragon 2. So same thing here, we'll just show what the flying knee looks like to start with, and then we'll see how it works. So here you can see flying knee. Watch that again. You jump, and then from your kneeling position do a flying knee. So let's move back into TAS Studio and take a look at what that looks like. So here we go. You'll notice actually every other frame is red, and in this view red is indicating that it's a lag frame, meaning that the game is not asking for controller inputs. And you can see here it's every other frame, which means effectively this game is only asking for inputs at 30 Hertz once every other frame. So here we hit B and A at the same time, just the mechanic to jump in Double Dragon 2. And when we land, we're in a kneeling position. And then coming down here, we're holding right and we hit B and A at the same time. And we do a flying knee. So now, if we go back one frame and hit B and A a frame early, no flying knee. Now, this next frame, so this is where we started, flying knee works. This frame, the game did not actually ask for input, which means effectively hitting B and A one frame later is exactly the same as what we did last time, and we get our flying knee. Next, we go one frame later, still there, still get a flying knee. Of course, this frame is not even reading the inputs, so we know this one's going to work. Still get the flying knee. And now one frame later, no flying knee. So that means you have to have B and A together at the same time on one of either this frame or this frame. The in-between lag frames don't actually matter, so that actually gives you a little latitude with this trick, but effectively it's 4 frames. I mean, we can check if you hit A first and then B a frame apart, it doesn't work. Or if you do it the other way around, B and then A, no flying knee. So basically you have 4 frames to hit B and A. 4 frame window. And actually, I can even check. There we get a flying knee. If we're not holding a direction, no flying knee. You have to be holding a direction. All right, let's move on to MC Kids. So this is a pretty interesting card grab that has a really tight window to it, and part of, like, when I first started to pick up this game and kind of look at some of the tool assisted runs, they don't even do this trick. But I noticed this when TMR did his playthrough for NES Mania. He did this card grab, and when I saw him do it, I didn't even know it was possible. And I think he did it on his like second or third try or something crazy, but it's it's there, it works. It's just a really tight frame window to do so. Alright, so here, jump, hit that spring, grab the card. It happens pretty fast, but we'll show it again. Get your speed, jump, hit the spring, grab the card. One more time. Speed, jump, grab the card. Alright, now we should show what that looks like with the TAS tools and how tight the frame window is on that. Stop that. This up. That up in here. So here, I believe. Yeah, no big deal, right, McCaranice? Yeah, alright, so here it is. Must have saved this, so this didn't. Oh, yep, there it is. Okay, so got the card grab. So let's see what happens if we jump one frame later. We just walk off the edge. Doesn't work. See if we jump one frame earlier. We bonk our head. That doesn't work. Even if we keep the jump the same length, the same number of frames. Now we've jumped one frame earlier, and we did hit the spring, but we didn't make it over to the card. We make this another frame longer. We bonk our heads. Not gonna make the card. So that means you have to jump on the last possible frame that you can jump. And now if we just make it a shorter jump, we don't hit the spring. If we make it a longer jump, we hit the spring, but we don't make it over to the card. So that means your jump has to be 6 frames long exactly. So you have to jump on the last frame, and your jump has to be 6 frames long. The other thing to test is when we get over to this card, we need to hit B. And the question is, how precise is that? Well, if we hit B early, no card grab. Still no card grab. Still no card grab. There, we've grabbed the card. Next frame. Still grab the card. Next frame. No card grab. So it means it has to be on one of these two. And you can hold it for longer, but one of these two frames. So basically you had to jump on the correct frame, have your frame be your jump be the correct number of frames long, and then you have 2 frames to grab the card. I didn't really show it here, but you actually, you have to make sure you get to full speed before you do this jump also. So 1 frame to jump. Jump must last 6 frames. 2 frames to hit B, grab card. Yeah, frame perfect jump, frame perfect holding the jump button, and 2 frame grab. The intended route, no, actually, if you look at the level design in this game, it's really amazing. It's really good. But the intended route is there are some platforms in just a few levels that have these spinner things on the end, and if you run off the ledge off of the spinner at full speed, it flips you upside down and puts you on the underneath side of the platform. So the intended route is for you to go upside down and climb up into this area upside down and get that. But it turns out that it is actually possible to grab it without going upside down, which is, as you can see, very precise, but does save you probably a minute or 45 seconds or something of messing around with going upside down, climbing down here, finishing the level. That is only in the 100% category of this game. This card isn't collected in the any percent run. But let's move on to Barbie. Let's get rid of that. I see. Hey Highlander, thanks. This is from the TAS. We'll skip ahead to the section we're interested in. Here, this jukebox section, this floor takes you back to the beginning of the stage when you land on it. Only here in the TAS, we're just going to hop across it. And the question is, how difficult would this be? And I think if Kai or White Hat or one of the people that have actually run this game would tell you that that would not be possible. RTA, and let's go see why. We'll bring back the TAS tools. And then once it's loaded up, we'll go find that section of the run. There it goes. I believe it is in here. Hey PUBG, yeah, this is one of the submissions that I'm making for tool-assisted stuff for this SGDQ. So we'll see how the submissions go. But yeah, I needed to make a video showing kind of what we're looking at doing, and hopefully people can see, you know, some interesting things and what kind of benefits the TAS tools have for speedrunners. Alright, so here we go. Here we're bouncing across this floor, and this floor is intended to take you back to the beginning of the stage. So if we stop in here, you can see that we're jumping, we're doing full jumps, and we're just leaving one frame in between jumps. So if we get rid of some of this, there we still make it. If we try to jump a frame early here, before we've landed, we're just going to land, we're not going to jump, and this thing, no control now, is just going to drag us back to the beginning of the stage. If we jump on the right frame, we keep jumping. If we jump a frame late, we've landed on the stage and it's going to drag us back. So this hopping through the stage on this floor is every hop is a one frame trick. So probably you could get several of these in a row if your rhythm was good, but all the way or halfway across the stage, probably not. I think White Hat had a video where he was just trying to do this for fun and got like 12 or 13 in a row or something like that, but still not exactly a great RTA strat, and I don't think it actually saves that much time in this run. Definitely a little bit, but for the TAS. Alright, so let's put this in our notes. One frame to jump. So let's go look at Super Mario Bros. 3. It's an interesting one because it's a really great game. It's a game a lot of people love. And, you know, in my opinion, it's actually, for new people starting out, it's actually not a very good speed game because, you know, as probably some of the runners can tell you, the speedrun strategies for Super Mario Bros. 3 are actually extremely difficult, and they kind of punch you in the face right at the beginning of the game. So the jumping over the plant in the first pipe in 1-1 even is not an easy trick, and we can try to show that here. Alright, so if we go right into it, there we go, we've jumped over the plant. We died after that, but it doesn't matter. We just want to see, how hard is that? It doesn't look that hard, right? Well, let's go look. So if we bring up the TAS tools again. A big TAS 20. It doesn't sound likely PUBG, but alright, so if we go find this in with the tools. So there we've made it. goes. So now the question is, well, what if you can see in here I've held left for 5 frames, and the question is, what would happen if I didn't? And the answer is I run right into the plant. And to show you kind of how hard this is, you might say, oh, I could have just jumped earlier, right? Alright, so jump earlier, hit the plant. Oh, see, now I made it over the plant, but I don't have P speed, which is one of the big keys of Super Mario Bros. 3 speedrunning, is keep that P speed. So if you just hold right and B the whole time, your choices are run into the plant or don't get P speed, and neither of those are necessarily good options. So what we want to do is, in here somewhere, we want to hit left for a number of frames and see what it takes to keep both P speed and keep from hitting the plant. So if we keep hitting left a little earlier, there, we almost made it. So there, we made it. And the question is, how early can we start hitting right? There, we ran into the plant. So here we make it over, but we still don't have P speed, which means we should jump later, make sure we get P speed. And that means we have to start heading left earlier. There, we got above him, but we landed on him, which means we need to hit right. There, we made it. Now the question is, how few frames of left can we use and still make it over this plant with P speed? There, we ran into him. Still ran into him. That's good. So at this point we hit left for 11 frames, and we did it basically as late as possible. And as a TAS person, my next question would be, if we hit left earlier, could we do it for fewer frames? And the answer obviously seems to be yes. So if we started hitting left 1 frame earlier, that failed and that worked. So now we only had to hit left for 9 frames. So if we hit left earlier yet, that one didn't work. That one did, so we are at 8 frames. Worked. That worked. That failed. So that worked, and we are at 7 frames. That failed. That worked. We're still at 7 frames. We start going left 1 earlier. That failed. We're still at 7 frames. Go left earlier. That works. Works. 6 frames worked, but 5 frames did not. So now if we go one earlier, six still works, 5 does not. One earlier, 6 still works, 5 does not. One earlier, 6 still works. 5 now works. So we're down to 5. 4 does not work. One earlier, 5 still works. 4 does not. One earlier, 5 still works. 4 does not. One earlier, 5 is good. 4 is not. One earlier, 5 is good. 4 is not. One earlier. We made it over, but we did not get the P speed. So the conclusion on this is that you can't just hold B and right and jump. Must hit left for at least 4 or 5 frames. I guess we had 11 was the when we hit it late. So somewhere between 5 and 11 frames. And this is assuming that you're switching from right to left, back to right, like frame perfect, which may be not quite ideal as an RTA player, switching directions that fast. But I mean, this is the kind of thing where you can see, here's what we found with the tools. You can use that information and practice your run, and get a feel for it yourself. So let's move on to the last one, Empire Strikes Back. Hey Curtis, what's going on? It's going well. So in Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back for the NES, there's a trick I discovered where basically you can jump on the Tauntaun. You can jump out of midair, and actually you can keep jumping out of midair like that. The jump in the middle of the air there is not intentional, and if we go bring up the TAS tools again, we can kind of see how that works. So let's bring the TAS tools back up. Alright, so from here, do this charge jump to get up in the air, and then you can see we hit select and A. And actually you don't necessarily need to hold them down, although that's probably easier. So here, if we just hit A, nothing happens. We fall back down. We just hit select. We, I believe, fall a little faster, but otherwise we don't get another jump. If we leave a frame in between select and A, nothing happens. If we hit select and A on the same frame, nothing happens. If we hit select on one frame and A on the next frame, we'll jump. And actually you can see, if I do it again, we can jump again. And we can keep doing this, but the key is select on one frame, A on the next frame. And actually I've done this just to see what happens. I've just had a bot go through and do this, and eventually if you keep jumping as high as you can, the stage loops around and you kind of bump into the bottom of the stage, which is kind of interesting. But the key point here is that you must hit select on one frame, then A on the next frame. And actually you can see if I come back to the ground, if I try to do this here, we'll see what happens from the ground. So the select button is designed to allow you to dismount from the tauntaun. So if I try to do that and I'm already on the ground, he'll just dismount, which is the intended mechanic. Yeah, so now we've gone through the list of tricks I wanted to go through, and we can just review quickly what results we came up with. So the block dupe in Mega Man is a one frame trick. You have to hit B on the frame the brick that you threw leaves the screen. The Double Dragon 2 flying knee, you have a 4-frame window to hit B and A together when you're holding a direction and you're kneeling from a previous jump. You have a 4-frame window while you're kneeling to do a flying knee. That MC Kid's card grab in 4-2 is 2 frame perfect inputs followed by a 2-frame input. You have to jump on the correct frame and your jump must be 6 frames long, and when you get over to the card you have 2 frames to grab it. The jumps and the moving floor in the jukebox and Barbie are 1 frame. You have to do frame perfect jumps to keep the floor from grabbing you. The Mario Bros. 3 plant jump is a little more complicated, but you can't just hold B and right and make that jump. You have to hit left for some number between 5 and 11 frames in order to get the height to make it over the plant. In Empire Strikes Back, you can jump through the air on the tauntaun, but you must hit select on one frame and A on the next frame. You can do it anywhere in your jump, but those two must be 1 frame apart, so that's the 1 frame part of the trick. And I think that's it for our TAS review. Thank you all for watching.